fuck, it feels like it's been forever. It's got to be over soon. And then I looked and it was like 15 minutes left. And I was like, oh, fuck. Really? Yeah. Next, Paystee, Raw Tag Team Championship. Street Profits retain their titles against Angel Garza and Austin Theory. I skipped this one also.
I didn't pay hardly any attention to it, even though I like the Street Profits. Austin Theory basically made his main roster debut at WrestleMania.
I'm an Austin Theory fan. I love Austin Theory.
It's just, why would you? That's weird. Like, he didn't even hardly do anything on NXT. Why is he there, other than the fact that Andrade wasn't able to be? I don't know. And then Angel Garza and Austin Theory, their entrance is where I realized, damn, a lot of these wrestlers are playing to an audience that's not there, and it makes their entrances look stupid as fuck. Like, they come out and they do their normal taunts, and they're, like, taunting at the crowd that's not there. To me, you got to change your entrance for this kind of thing.
So many people. I didn't mention this, and I should mention this because it stood out to me. I think Shayna Baszler was the only one who really had did the right entrance. She looked straight ahead to the ring, came in, didn't do anything. Yeah, so many people are literally like waving at the crowd and stuff, like giving their hand things, and it's like, I don't know if it's muscle memory. I don't know if it's Vince saying, just act like everybody's there. I don't know what it is. But it looks worse when you do it because it really shines that there's nobody there, right?
So you got to wonder, was there ever anyone there, really? Or was it all just video editing? Did they just edit the crowds in for the last year and a half? No, I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Well, they pipe in cheers and boos. Fuck, yeah, they could be just piping in fucking people. I
halfway expected that, too. That was something they were talking about coming into WrestleMania, was they might pipe in cheers and boos just to make it feel more authentic.
I debated in my head whether that was right or wrong. Like a laugh track, on a sitcom where you know it's fake, but it adds to it. I seriously, I think
I would have accepted it, but it would have been terrible.
I'm going to shit on there being no audience and no reaction, and I would have shit if they would have done that. Either way, I would have shit on them. I'm honest. I'm not lying about that.
Right.
It's a no-win situation in my book.
Yeah.
We had the 5-way, let's just get some women on this card match. Bayley defended her championship against Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina in an okay match, I think.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, for a 5-way, just throw everybody together, nobody has a story together match.
It worked. You brought Tamina back, which is interesting. I thought they would have brought Nia Jax back, but they did that on Monday.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, she's back.
Good. I like Nia. I'm not a Tamina fan.
No. Is there a Tamina fan? If you listening to this podcast are a Tamina fan, please email us at beefstickspodcast@gmail.com. We would like to interview you.
This match started out really sloppy and messy, but it actually settled down, and they told stories for me. You know what I mean? Like not knowing what's going on here, like I kind of they led me to kind of know who was doing what. Tamina, the newly brought in Tamina just dominated, which I think you should do on return.
Oh, yeah.
Not a fan of it because I don't like Tamina and I don't need her there, but I get it. They had the Banks and Bayley's thing where it's like, oh no, are they gonna there's some miscommunication and all that, but Bayley and Evans did really good together, and then at the end, you kind of showed that, you know what, Sasha and Bayley, their friendship is still going strong. But then after the match at the very end, they did close-ups on the face, and it's like, oh shit, it's still lingering over, like, oh, maybe they're not something.
And then Sasha handed Bayley the title.
Yeah, but they still left it open to where it's like, okay, there could still be something here. So,
well, from all accounts, what I heard is Bayley was going to pick her next opponent for Money in the Bank, and she had choices. She gave it to Sasha. So they're going into this like friends still. But we're finally
her opponent is going to be Sasha?
Yeah. So we're finally going to get a one-on-one.
So that could be where it breaks down.
I hope so.
I like that. This should have been worse than it was, considering to me it's just a throw.
Is like all the other matches, you could complain about editing fucking up the match. This match looked over choreographed.
I would agree. I would at least agree in the first half. I think the last half really came together. I did think the first half was messy and sloppy and just didn't. Or maybe the last half was over choreographed and I liked it because it went off so fluidly. I'm not sure, but I liked the last half of this match.
Yeah.
They gave him damn near 20 minutes. Which, if you're gonna have 5 women in here,
you better give them that amount of time.
10 years ago, they would have gotten 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So, cool. We know it's the obligatory, just throw a bunch of women in there to give them a Mania spot. But I think the women made the best out of it that they possibly could. This is better than it should have been, I think, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a best women's match on Mania weekend?
No.
No? You're still going to give that
Oh, you mean best one on this weekend?
Yes. That's what I was saying.
Okay, not
ever.
Okay. I was gonna say, I think Flair Ripley, was probably the best one, and I don't like saying that.
Well, they did get more time,
and I think they told probably a better story. I think Rhea Ripley is not my favorite woman in NXT, and Flair is not my favorite person on the main roster, but as far as the matches go, I'm going to leave my bias out of it and say those two put on the best match for the women of the night. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair call. It's hard to give that to a 5-woman match too.
It really is difficult.
But that's okay, folks, because we have the greatest thing of the weekend and of WrestleMania recent memories and maybe of WWE in general.
No. Not the greatest thing in general of WWE, but awesome.
I loved how it was put together and the attention to detail. And of course, guys, you know it. We all know it. We're talking about the Firefly
Funhouse.
It's not a match. You can't really. It's called a match, but it was not a match. It was
This is a skit
segment. Yes.
Yeah, it's Kevin Dunn. I shit on him so many times, but as head of production, he had to have his hands all over this. So fucking awesome. So beautifully done. So great. I want to know who actually produced this. I'm guessing Bruce Pritchard. Because he did so many of the best productions back in the day, and since he's full-time there again, I'm going to assume this was Bruce Pritchard.
You could tell Bray Wyatt and John Cena were having the time of their lives when they were doing this.
Oh,
John Cena looked so happy.
Oh my God, I know.
He doesn't want to come back to WWE because he doesn't want to have to wrestle and risk injury, and this was the one way to get him back to do some Cena shit without him risking that injury. And it was beautiful. My favorite was when they went to the 80s style shit when Bray's cutting the promo and John Cena's crunching the barbells.
No, the Saturday night's main event.
Yeah,
and they used the actual opening of Saturday night's main event. Oh, that was so great.
I mean, we could sit here and break it down for you like everybody on YouTube did, but we're better at the disjointed. Just this shit was.
Well, you had Macho Man Rabbit, whoever the fucking Rabbit is, or whatever Rabbit. He is. Okay, yeah, he was Macho Man. Then you had the Vince McMahon puppet, who straight up at one point said, "This is such good shit." I was like, "Oh snap!" I loved it. Oh, loved it so much. My gosh, this 5 stars, and an Emmy and an Oscar.
Yeah.
This was storytelling and only storytelling.
It's historical. It's storytelling. It's multi-tiered fucking. It's just genius. A genius segment through and through.
You had the ruthless aggression. You know, when I seen him out there with Kurt Angle's thing, yeah, and he's like ruthless. And even Cena, he says it, and then you see it in his face. He's like, "Why am I saying? What am I doing?"
Yeah.
And then they brought in the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I can only talk in rhyme. The only thing I didn't like was, I got egg on my face. Well, you're going to get these nuts in your face. Well, face doesn't rhyme with face, John. That was the worst part of the entire segment. Maybe that's because I made music. Maybe it's because I'm a human being with half a brain, and I know face does not rhyme with face.
Maybe, but also eggs and nuts kind of work together as synonyms, so it actually works without the rhyming.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was so perfect.
It brought me back to Southpaw Wrestling with John Cena and how much fun he looked like he was having with the whole thing.
Right.
It brought me back to Southpaw real hard.
It basically, I don't know how you put this into words. I wrote stuff down. I mean, I could read it, but I'm not going to.
The best way to enjoy this match is just go watch it.
The last two sentences I wrote are, it was brilliant, every moment of it. So that kind of sums it up. It was brilliant, every moment of it. This was, the best thing of this entire weekend was this. I hope they're okay with doing more of this. And then, was it this or was it the Boneyard match where they did the callback to, I think it was Michael Cole. It was one of them when they were doing something. It wasn't the Firefly Funhouse, but it was like one of the first Funhouse sketches. It must have been this one because it was Funhouse. But they cut to Titus and he was like,
"Oh yeah,
I don't know what we just saw there."
I just saw.
Yeah,
and he had nothing to do with Mania at all.
No, but that was the exact same thing they had Michael Cole say after the first Firefly Funhouse. And I was like, oh, like there's so many of these little things that if you've been following, you catch them. And if you haven't been following, it's just enjoyable.
Yeah, I had Kirsten sit down and watch it the next day. I'm like, you're probably not going to understand half of this, but you have to watch it. She loved it.
But it's still good. Yeah, it's still fucking good. Oh, I don't know. Great, and great.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this to me made the entire weekend worthwhile. Beautiful. I love John Cena pumping the iron and then not being able to use his arms. That made me laugh.
Oh, that's right. He started doing the wobbly arms. I forgot about that.
I thought for sure they were going to let the That's Such Good Shit slide on WrestleMania and then edit it out when they put it on YouTube, and they didn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, I'm just glad Vince is willing to
I didn't know that was... They put the Firefly Funhouse on YouTube, huh?
Yep.
I'm surprised they put a full WrestleMania match on YouTube. That's surprising. Yeah. I loved the super fake weights, too, that he's working out with.
Pumping so fucking fast.
Yeah, with the super bulged out veins.
Yeah, the face is shaking his head. Oh, it's so good. So fucking good.
Yeah, oh, that was just too much.
And then for at the end, when the Fiend had him in the mandible claw, and it played the end of Cena's promo from Raw that week, when he was talking about how he was going to erase and delete the most overrated, overused, and undeserving superstar of all time. And it was, instead of him talking about the Fiend, it was actually him talking about himself, and then he disappeared. This is where I have to differ with you. You said you hoped the Boneyard match was Undertaker's last match. I hope this is Cena's last match. It brought everything full circle, erased Cena from WWE. This is his perfect opportunity to walk away and never have to come back. And you can't do it with both.
I'm not going to disagree with you other than...
Cena has more to offer than Undertaker.
Yeah, other than reality. Undertaker can't have another good live match.
Yeah.
Cena has, plenty of good live matches left. And he legitimately has to break Ric Flair's title record. So he needs at least one more title run. Yeah. So he's at least getting a title. I don't think we should screw him out of that title run. I think he's earned it. That record-breaking 17th title run.
But I will never say boo if we don't see John Cena in WWE.
I would agree. If this was his curtain call, I would be fine with it. I 100% would be.
Brilliant and just God.
I just think that as far as their actual careers go, Undertaker needs to leave. Cena has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
But this either one would both be a good bowing out. If this was the end of both of theirs, I don't know why you couldn't do both of them now. This WrestleMania is so unique as it is. Why not look back on this and be like, oh, this was the last time we ever seen Cena or Undertaker in a WWE ring. Yeah.
I just think if Undertaker's going to be done, he should have been the one to get buried.
Hey, he doesn't go out like that. That's not his style.
I get it. So we can not talk about the rest of the show.
You don't want to talk about the last match?
I mean, we